What is a polynomial? In algebra, a polynomial is a combination of one or more terms joined together by arithmetic operations. So how do these terms look like? Terms in a polynomial are products of numbers and variables. We simply write the number and variable next to each other. Also, although we can write this reversed, it is best to write the number before the variable. Now the number part is called coefficient. A positive term has a positive number as coefficient, while a negative term has a negative number as coefficient. If the number part of a term is missing, it is assumed to have a coefficient of 1, and there is no need to write it because multiplying by 1 does not change the value of the term. The variable part can be raised to a power. The variable here has the exponent 1 because we learned from our last video the rule of 1, which states that any number raised to 1 equals the number itself. We can also raise the variable to 0, but by the zero exponent rule, x raised to 0 simply equals 1, and the value of the term will not change if we do not write the variable. If a term has no variable, it means that the variable is raised to 0. Such a term is called a constant term. The exponent of the variable part determines an important property of a term called the degree of a term. If the power of the variable is 3, then the degree is 3, or it is a third degree term. If the power is 2, then it is a second degree term. If the power is 1, then it is a first degree term. But what about constant terms? As we discussed earlier, the variable part of a constant term is raised to 0, so it is a 0 degree term. The variable part can also contain more than one variable, and we can create a combination of variables raised to different exponents. The degree of a term with more than one variable is the sum of the powers of each variable. The powers in this term are 2 and 3. Because 2 plus 3 is 5, 2x squared y cubed is a fifth degree term. Now there are restrictions in a polynomial. The variable cannot be contained inside a radical sign. This suggests that the exponent of the variable cannot be non-integer. Also, we cannot do division by variable in exponents. So, the exponent of the variable cannot be negative. We can think of a polynomial as a series of terms linked together by addition. This polynomial links 4 terms: x, 2x raised to 4, negative 5, and negative 3x squared. The degree of a polynomial is the degree of its highest degree term. Since the polynomial contains a 4th degree term, then this is a 4th degree polynomial. Its appearance can be made easier to understand by removing the parentheses, but we need to be cautious of the signs. If the coefficient is a positive number, the parenthesis can be removed instantly. But if the coefficient is negative, we will remove the parenthesis and use minus sign as a link instead. This is because adding a negative number is the same as subtracting the positive version of that number. Now that the polynomial is easier to look at, it is better to make it look organized. We can arrange terms from highest degree to lowest. But arranging terms will also require caution in signs. This is a 4th degree polynomial, so 2x raised to 4, which is a 4th degree term, goes first. This contains no 3rd degree term, so we skip that and move to the 2nd degree term. But before moving it, notice that the link is a minus sign. If we move the 2nd degree term, the minus sign will have to come with it because if not, the coefficient will be positive 3. But remember earlier that the coefficient of this term is negative 3. The negative term suddenly turns into a positive term, and this will change the value of the polynomial. And so, the minus sign will have to come along. This also applies with the constant term negative 5. There are polynomials that fall into certain families with special names. These names use the prefixes mono, that means 1, bi, that means 2, and tri, that means 3. A term on its own is a polynomial that is called a monomial. A monomial can have multiple variables and it can be of a higher degree. A polynomial that contains two terms with unlike combination of variables and exponents is a binomial. These are examples of binomials. A polynomial with three unlike terms is called a trinomial. Most of the time, the names binomial and trinomial are referred simply as polynomial, just like polynomials with many unlike terms. Understanding that a polynomial is a combination of positive and negative terms will help us in simplifying polynomials, which will be our next lesson. You can watch this lesson repeatedly in order to master the idea of polynomials before we move forward. As usual, thanks for watching Math Marvel. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click on notifications so you won't miss any of our new videos. See you in our next lesson about simplifying polynomials.